Hey, welcome to this video. Today we're talking on how to find any chord across the fretboard using something I call the two-string approach. First of all, you'll see I have 5 diagrams of chords over here. These are chord shapes. Very important to understand that this is a shape. It's not a chord. It's a C shape, A shape, G shape, E shape, D shape, spells CAGED. So we're going to learn about CAGED too. All right. Now, if you don't understand the concept of moving chords, let me bring you up to speed real quick. If not, you can skip this part. But let's just say you're playing an E, okay? Let's look at an F now. What shape is that? I'm gonna move that F 1 fret lower in pitch. Now my bar is behind the nuts, so these strings are open. Strings 1, 2, and 6 are open. What shape is that? It's an E shape, right? So bar chords are just open chords moved across the fretboard. Let's take a look at this note, the 6th string, E. What happens to that note if I move it here? Becomes an F note, right? So if I move an E chord, shake up 1 fret to where that's an F, and I move all notes together, that's gonna become an F. If we follow the alphabet, A, B, C, D, E, F. Next one with the same shape, G. Okay, same happens with the A. That's an A note, 5th string. If I move it up to B and play an A shape where this is the B, that's going to become a B chord. Follow the alphabet, next chord, C chord, D chord, E chord, F, G, all the other chords. So these shapes are movable across the fretboard to create other chords. One major shapes creates all the other major chords. Okay, do you want more on this? Just check out that video, but let's move forward. So you'll see there's 2 colors inside of these diagrams. There's the red and the black. I'm gonna leave my guitar and show you what I mean. With the 2-string approach, you can easily find, let's just say we want to play a C chord all across the fretboard using these 5 shapes of CAGED. So the 2-string approach is based on the idea that you can divide 6 strings into 3, making it 3 pairs of 2 strings, right? So let me just place this note and this note here, okay? Black and red. These 2 notes can be found in exactly the same order on these pairs of strings instead of 5 and 6 on 3 and 4 if we jump 2 frets. Okay, so we're gonna jump 1, 2, and I'm gonna find exactly the same notes on those 2 strings. Pretty cool, right? Pretty simple. Okay, so now how do we find them in strings 1 and 2? Well, we jump 3 frets from there. 1, 2, 3, and here's my black note, and here's my red note. Same notes in the same order, so we can divide strings into pairs of 2. Okay, now, here's the cool concept. You see my fretboard is divided into a thick string and a thin string. For each pair of strings, there's a thick and a thin. And why did I do that? Let's just find all C notes, for example, to create C chords, right? So this is an A note, A sharp, B, C. So that's my C note. I just found that note on the A string. Okay, how do I find it on the other pair of strings? Well, I'm on the thin string of this pair, right? Thick, thin. So I go thick, thin. It's gonna be on this string now, and I jump 2 frets. 1, 2, thin string. That's another C note. Pretty simple, right? Now how do I find them on strings 1 and 2 on that pair? I've got thick, thin. I'm gonna go towards the thin string, and I'm just gonna jump 3 frets. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Sorry. There we go. Now I found C notes on all of those strings. Now, how do we find them on the thick strings of each pair? So you probably know by tuning your guitar that this string and this string are the same notes. So this note has to be the same as this one. Now we're on the thick strings. Pretty cool, right? So now how do we find that red note on these pairs of strings? I'm on the thick string. So I jump 2 frets, 1, 2, place it there. That's another C note. And the last string I'm missing is the second string, which is also a thick string. So I jump 3 frets, 1, 2, 3, full. Now I found all my C notes across the fretboard. Now here's what's cool. Look at these diagrams, which I'm going to focus on this diagram. And I'm going to copy this diagram exactly how it is onto this fretboard. Okay, so I've got a black dot over here. I've got a black dot over here. I've got this red dot, which is beyond the 12th fret over here. And I've got this one over here. See how it's exactly the same shape? Pretty cool, right? So I have my first C chord. Okay, let's keep moving on. All right, so what other shape shares this note on the 5th string? The A shape. See how it's a shape? We're going to create a C chord, but we're going to use this shape. And the only thing we got to do is copy this shape right here. So I'm going to go here, here, and here. This right here is a C chord using this shape. Pretty awesome, right? Let's keep moving forward. So let's look at this dot, for example. What chord shapes use this dot on the 3rd string? Oh, so the A shape uses it too, so we already copied that. Is there any other shape that has this dot on the 3rd string? Oh, the G shape. So I'm just going to throw a G shape right there, just like that. Look at that, a G shape, just like this one. This is a C chord using a G shape. How cool is that? And we found it because we know all our C notes using 2-string approach. Okay, let's keep moving forward. What about this one? What shape has that dot on the 6th string? Okay, the G shape, which we already did, and the E shape is one we haven't done yet. So I'm going to copy the E shape right here, and boom, I have another C chord, but now I'm using an E shape. See how this is shapes and this is chords, okay? All right, let's keep moving forward. What about this dot over here? What chord shape has that dot on the 4th string? The D shape, right? Okay, so I'm gonna copy that D shape over here. Actually, this note has to move here again. Boom, we've got a C chord using a D shape. And you can do this for any chord. So let me do the 2-string approach again, but for, I don't know, a weird chord that you might be struggling with. Let's just say we're going to use, let me leave this here. We're going to use, I don't know, an A sharp. A sharp? Okay, let's do an A sharp now, okay? So that's an A, that's an A sharp. How can we find all our A sharp chords? Okay, I'm on the thin string of this pair. So to jump to the thin string of the other pair, I jump 2 frets. 1, 2, thin string. To jump to the strings 1 and 2 to the thin string, I jump 3 frets. 1, 2, 3, boom, right? Okay, so now that note, because this string and this string, 1 and 6, share the same notes, I'm going to bump this note over here. Now I know my A sharp over here. And now I'm on the fixed string. To jump to this thick string, it's 2 frets. 1, 2, right there. And then to jump to this thick string, 1, 2, 3, right there. Now I know all my A sharp notes. It's pretty simple, right? And the pattern is beautiful. Okay, so now let's construct chords around this little pattern. Okay, so I'm gonna start with this note. Can I build a C shape? No, because there's no more frets going that way, right? But I can construct an A shape. So I'm gonna do that right here. Hey, I got my first A sharp chord using an A shape. Let's keep moving forward. What about that note? I already constructed an A shape around it. What other shape shares that note on the 3rd string? The G shape. Let's do that. Boom, boom, boom. I just copied this diagram and placed it on this fretboard. And now I have another A sharp chords using this shape over here that I translated over to this fretboard. Is this making sense? Okay, so now what else? I got this note over here. Same thing, right? What's the next shape I have? This one, the E shape. So I can build an E shape around that note, A sharp note, and create that chord shape to play that chord. That's an A sharp chord using an E shape. Is this making sense? Okay, so now let's just say we've got this one over here. What's the shape that has this note in its shape? The D shape, right? So I'm just gonna throw that there, and I have an A sharp chord using a D shape. How easy it is to find all your notes on the fretboard using the A string and then creating chords around it. Hope you liked it. If you want more on this, just download the Beginner Guitarist Playbook that you'll find the link down below. It's helped more than 100,000 guitarists understand this concept, and I hope you like it too.